What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and we have a mailbag coming up for you guys. And if you're wondering, yo, Marsh, how do I get my questions answered on the mailbag? Easy two-step process. You got to be a subscriber, so go down right now, hit that big red button, and use hashtag Knicks in the comments right now. Joe Rayner, what up? Would you trade Randall, Fournier, 4 picks for Mitchell in a heartbeat? I would have done that 5 days ago. I would have done that last week. The thing is, the Utah Jazz do not want Julius Randle. They've made that evidently clear. Not a lot of teams want Randle right now. His value is at an all-time low. That's why there's talks of trading Randle for Russell Westbrook in a salary dump where you would just buy out Russell Westbrook. I think Julius will have a better season than he did last year if he stays with the Knicks. It's just right now everyone's judging him off of last year where it didn't work out and he was inefficient and wasn't really a team player, and nobody really wants to trade for him, and the Utah Jazz definitely don't want him in a Donovan Mitchell deal. But yes, I would do that deal in a heartbeat. Thing is, I think if you offer that trade to Danny Ainge, he hangs up in your face. Master Search, what up, fam? RJ going to show the whole world this year. Watch. Which is why I kind of don't want Spida. So wouldn't Randle and Rose, Fournier for guys like Kennard, Barnes, even Bogdanovich be better for the team? I just don't see the New York Knicks making a trade for Bogdanovich, a.k.a. doing a deal with the Jazz unless it's for Donovan Mitchell. I feel like they may burn that bridge with Danny Ainge if they don't get a deal done. But Kennard, I would love it. We've talked about him on the channel. He's a sniper from deep. I would rather have Harrison Barnes than Julius Randle. I think Barnes is a good player. He's got a couple years left on that $20 million salary. So wouldn't Randle and Rose and Fournier for guys? I want to keep Derrick Rose if we don't trade for Donovan Mitchell. I think he's a good bench big to have, or a bench guard to come off the bench. He was great for the New York Knicks. I want to keep Rose. I wouldn't care about trading Randle or Fournier. So, Master Search, I hope that answers your question. I appreciate you as always, my guy. Here on the channel, we have been growing like crazy, and that is a credit to all of you out there that have hit that big red button. We've had 3.8 thousand subs join in the past month, and for all the new subs out there, I want you to turn on your notifications. It's the bell icon right underneath me. Click that, and then turn your notifications to all. So every time that we put a video out on here on New York Knicks Now, you get a push notification to your phone that we put a video out. So all the new subs and all the people that haven't subbed, turn your noties on, hit that bell icon, turn the notifications to all. D Park, what up, bro? Are the Knicks a playoff team without trading for Donovan Mitchell? Great question. I'm going to take this with the premise of you have your playoff teams and you have your play-in teams. I think the Knicks, if they don't trade for Donovan Mitchell, will be competing for that playoff spot. Last year, the New York Knicks won 37 games with Alec Burks as their starting point guard. I don't want people to just act like Alec Burks compared to Jalen Brunson isn't that big of a switch-up. It is a massive switch-up. Jalen Brunson is a top 10, top 11 point guard in the NBA. Alec Burks isn't a top 40 point guard in the NBA. That's going to make the world of difference for guys like R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson. I think Mitch Rob in a pick and roll with Jalen Brunson is going to make a big difference. I do think the Knicks make the playoffs with Jalen Brunson. I think people are sleeping on him, and I can't wait for them to wake up. Because I'll tell you this right now. If he's not, Jalen Brunson might be your favorite player on the Knicks by the time the season ends. The heart he plays with, the tenacity, and just the winning style and efficient brand of basketball, Knicks fans are going to eat that up. But I'll ask the question that D Park asked me. Will the Knicks make the playoffs? Let me know what you think. Type P for playoffs, type L for lottery. This is on the premise that Donovan Mitchell does not get traded. I want to hear from you. Type P for playoffs, type L for lottery. Kamario Jarvis, Randle and Fournier for Westbrook and first-round pick, buy out Westbrook, then sign Collin Sexton for 2 years, $50 million, second-year team option. I don't hate it. I do not hate it, but I don't realistically see that happening. I don't hate it. I would only trade Julius Randle in a salary dump, though, for Russell Westbrook if the Knicks trade for Donovan Mitchell. Because, honestly, this might not be a popular opinion. I want to see Julius Randle work with Jalen Brunson if Donovan Mitchell's not here. If Donovan Mitchell's not here, I think Brunson could bring the best out of Randle. I'm not sure we'll ever get that most improved second-team All-NBA player we had with Julius Randle back in 2020 and 2021. But can he be better than he was last year? I think he's motivated. I think he's in better shape. He's heard the chatter. He's a proud person. He's going to come in this season with a chip on his shoulder to be a better player. And I think Jalen Brunson could help him do that. I like Collin Sexton, but 2 years, $25 million, it's really not something that I'm all that interested in. Wouldn't be surprised if it happens, but if I had to say no, I don't think I would do it, and I don't think that ultimately happens. Good idea. Appreciate your question, bro. Richard Rodriguez, will Evan Fournier be on the roster come opening night? I believe that if the Knicks trade for Donovan Mitchell, Evan Fournier is most likely going to be in the deal. If the Knicks do not trade for Donovan Mitchell, I don't really think another move will happen for the New York Knicks. I think they'll roll with the 15, 14 players they have on this roster. I will say this, though. I don't think Evan Fournier is going to start this year. I think it's going to be Quentin Grimes at that 2, with Jalen Brunson at the 1, RJ at the 3, Randle at the 4, Robinson at the 5. I like Fournier kind of more in that bench role where he can come off the bench and not have to be a focal point of the offense in the starting 5. Because if you start Fournier over a guy like Quentin Grimes, you're going to have to draw up plays for him. He has to have touches to be effective. Quentin Grimes does not. But if he's coming off the bench in a lineup of Rose, Quickly, and Fournier, not a lot of defense, but that's a lot of scoring, and you could run the offense kind of through Fournier in that spot. I think he's on this roster if you don't trade for Mitchell, but if you trade for Mitchell, I think he's in that deal. Scon Plays, what up? Do you want Melo back on the Knicks? Great question. Do I want him? I would only want Carmelo Anthony to sign with the New York Knicks if they trade for Donovan Mitchell. If they do not trade for Mitchell, there's really not a need for a guy like Carmelo Anthony, unless you dump, let's say, Julius Randle and you slide Obi Toppin into the starting 5 and you need a backup 4. I'm cool with that. But I don't think the Knicks will trade Julius Randle on a salary dump just to move off his money if they don't trade for Donovan Mitchell. I'd love to have Carmelo Anthony back. I think it'd be really cool. If you want Carmelo Anthony back on the Knicks, you can go ahead and type 7 in the comment section right now. I'd love to see him in his career with the Knicks. Still a good basketball player. Averaged 14 last year for the Lakers. Outside of Malik Monk, he was really the most consistent Laker last year. LeBron was hurt a lot. AD was trash. He's still a good player. I'd love to see him in his career with the Knicks, but I really don't think there's a spot on this roster if we don't trade for Donovan Mitchell. The Crazy Gamer, dude, what up? What is the perfect trade for you to get Donovan Mitchell? Perfect trade. Are you asking as in a perfect trade for a Knicks or a trade that will get it done? For the Knicks, it'd be great if you don't have to give up something like Obi Toppin or Emmanuel Quickly or Quentin Grimes, but I think you inevitably will have to give one of them up. A perfect trade for Mitchell, Quickly, Reddish, Fournier, 5, 6, 7 first-round picks. If I don't have to give up one of the kids, I'd be all down for that. But at the end of the day, I think you're going to have to give up one, maybe 2 of the kids, and I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, when you look at some Obi Toppin stats as what he did as a starter, he, I think, deserves to be in the starting lineup. 20 points per game, 7 rebounds, 57% from the field, 43% from deep. But I want to ask you this question. Pick one of these guys to keep in a trade. We talked about a perfect trade. A perfect trade would be none of these guys get traded, but inevitably one is going to go, maybe 2. I want to hear from you. Type 1 for Obi, type 5 for Emmanuel Quickly, or you can go down and type 6 for Quentin Grimes. The guy I would want to keep today is Obi. Tomorrow it might be Quentin Grimes. I go back and forth all the time. But let me know what you're thinking. 1, 5, 6, Obi, Quick, Grimes. This here fish. I really want the Donovan Mitchell trade. I really think the Donovan Mitchell trade is sailed. Would you rather give up too many pieces or wait until another disgruntled? I'm not overpaying for Donovan Mitchell. And we talked about this when the Jaylen Brown rumors came out. That's why you don't overpay for Donovan Mitchell, because another superstar like you talk about will become available in the coming weeks, days, months, 6 months, a year. New superstars are always going to become unhappy. They're going to force their way out. Who? I don't know, but I'm not trading or overpaying for Donovan Mitchell when I know that another superstar is going to become available and the Knicks will continue to have the best package to trade for a star. So no, I'm not overpaying. I would wait until another disgruntled star comes along, just like you said this here, Fire. Arrow Man Pro-Rican. I think that's what that says. Will Thibs get fired if the Knicks don't make the playoffs this season? Fired? No. But will he not be the coach? I think there's a good chance of that. I don't think the Knicks will fire Tom Thibodeau. I believe that when Tom Thibodeau has worn his welcome out as being the coach of the New York Knicks, he will be upgraded into a front office role and be alongside Leon World West. Just too much respect from the Knicks front office to Tom Thibodeau. But if they don't make the playoffs this year, this might be his last season coaching the Knicks, and Johnny Bryant might be the guy the Knicks upgrade to be their new head coach. Fat Boy with Kicks. If you had to right now, which Knick you think will be an all-star this year? This is a great question. I think it comes down to R.J. Barrett or Jalen Brunson. I really do. And I think with a new point guard and a fan base that's going to fall in love with Jalen Brunson, I think Brunson has a better opportunity this year to be an all-star player. I think Brunson could average 22 points per game, 6-7 assists, 3-4 rebounds, and be as efficient as he is. 50% from the field, 38% from three. I think that's close to help you get to an all-star. I think RJ is still a year or two away. But the guy that has the most potential to be a perennial all-star, I think it's R.J. Barrett. The guy averaged 24 points per game in the past 42 games, or the final 42 games of the season. We love R.J. on this show. Type 9 to show him some love. But to answer your question, I think it's Brunson who has the best chance to be an all-star this year. Shkan plays, do you want Karl-Anthony Towns on the Knicks if we don't get Donovan Mitchell? That's a good question. There's been a long rumor about Karl-Anthony Towns wanting to play for the Knicks. I believe he is repped by CAA. He's a part of the CAA mafia. So there's a chance that the Knicks would be interested in him. I just don't really know what position Karl-Anthony Towns plays because he's not really a center. He doesn't play defense or anything like that. He doesn't really block shots. And I don't think he's a good enough defender on the perimeter to be a 4. I think that's kind of why the Timberwolves traded for a guy like Rudy Gobert, and they can truly play positionless basketball. I think Cat's a good player. I wouldn't mortgage the future for him. I think there's other guys out there that are better that will become available. But if we can get him for cheap and he can come for the Knicks and play for the Knicks, I'm not against it. I just wouldn't go all in for a guy like Cat. Great question, though, bro. We'll end the mailbag with this question. We asked it earlier in the show, but I want to ask you now. Do you want to sign Carmelo Anthony? Do you want to see him end his career in the Mecca? Do you want to hear it one more time? 3-point goal, Carmelo Anthony. 3 to the dome. If you want to hear it one more time, type 7 in the comments right now.